Hello, everyone. Dr. Victoria Scorpio here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. I'm here with our one and only Ona. Hi.
Good morning, or afternoon, or evening,
Whenever you watch this.
wherever you watch.
Good day. Good day, Ona. So we're here to talk about the new moon in Scorpio. And it's not only is it a new moon, but it's also an eclipse. So they always have a little more power. Eclipses generally create a lot of change. A lot of it's sudden, not necessarily unexpected, because we usually always expect something to happen at an eclipse, but especially when we're dealing with the sign of death and rebirth, right, Ona?
Yeah. And I know that Mars, and I don't know when it's exact, but there is a Mars square and Neptune component too, right? And
Right.
Mars is one of the rulers of Scorpio. It's like a surge or a purge.
I probably would say purge.
Yeah.
Maybe a surge that creates a purge. Yeah. So I think what I'd like to do, Ona, is maybe go right to the chart. You want to look at the chart first?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that. So we can get like our bearings. Just give me a moment to find the chart. So, Ona, this is the chart for the new moon that's happening tomorrow morning, 6:49 a.m. So 5:49 a.m. for you guys in Chicago, Central Time, right? That's Central Time.
Yeah.
And of course, Venus is right there because Venus just started her new cycle of her star point.
Yes.
When she conjoined the sun. Was that, I think that was actually yesterday.
There was a lot of Venus stuff going on yesterday.
Yes. It's been a very Venus heavy, for such a warlike year, I feel like it's been a very Venus heavy year.
It has, and it's had those little things like the dinner plate hibiscus that did this crazy second bloom. Those little Venetian like things that came in, surprising us with this beauty, right?
That's right. Unexpected beauty. Unexpected beauty. And this is a south node eclipse, right? Because the sun, if it's a south node or a north node eclipse by where the sun is. So the sun is now with the south node. That sun is going to conjoin the south node. Venus is going to conjoin the south node. Mars is going to conjoin the south node either by the late evening or the next day. Hold on one second. Something's coming up and I'm trying to get it down. It keeps jumping up in my face. I think it's okay. Oh, that kind of, something's happening. All right, let's just go with it and then get back to work. It's interesting because Mars is going to go retrograde at the end of this week, right?
Okay.
So we have Mars retrograde. It's moving very slow in the sky now, right? In Gemini, because it's about ready to stop and then go retrograde. So we have like part of this cycle between the new moon, the eclipses, where part of the time Mars is direct and part of the time it's retrograde. So there's a lot of this sort of going back, having the discussion again, having the talk again.
Yeah.
There's a lot of conversation that needs to happen, a lot of back and forth. I think a lot of understanding that needs to come through this lunation cycle. I think it's a big psychic and karmic dump, honestly.
Yeah.
And when we have the full moon and the nodes are getting activated by the sun at the south node and the moon at the north node up there with Uranus, it's going to be a big shift in values and the direction I think that we're going in, and which makes me have a lot of optimism for the direction of our future as a country. You know, the United States is having their midterms on this full moon, which is the lunar eclipse of this eclipse cycle. And I really feel there's going to be a shift in a way, who's running things. Like, what's the primary focus of that the country is going to take? You know, are we going to move towards more chaos, or are we going to move towards more harmony and taking care of the problems that we obviously have to deal with? And I think climate change is a big part of that, honestly. You know, I think we have enough problems without having to invent problems.
Right.
Which is what a lot of, it seems to me, a lot of the talk is about problems that we don't really have. Like, critical race theory really isn't a problem. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
And there are things that are just not a problem, and you can just relax about them. And let's get down to the challenge of survival, which is what I think the North Node in Taurus is speaking to us of. How do you feel about all of that? That I said that. I mean, what's your sense about
I
that?
think about, even like ahead into the full moon, about being at the North Node in Taurus and having Venus and Scorpio and getting rid of stuff that we don't need anymore, whether we have the option to or not.
Yes. Yes. Yep.
There's no option. So sort of get used to that. And I think Mars is helping with the sort of assertive thought content, or maybe feeling rushed to make a decision.
Well, the interesting thing is, it is a new moon in Scorpio. Scorpio is co-ruled by Mars and Pluto, and Mars and Pluto are actually in conjunct with each other in the chart. And it is a Scorpio, not a Scorpio. It's a Virgo side in conjunct. So it's an energy of having to make adjustments in the way you talk about things, the way you think about things, the way you go about getting things done. There's going to be a shift in that, and through the period, I think this eclipse period certainly, and then even into next year when we get to the next eclipses, there's going to be this energy of having to just sort of figure out the best way, the most efficient way, perhaps, the most aligned with your understanding of yourself and your place in the world, where you can actually exert your energy. This is actually, I think, a really good time to do some writing or to do some creative work in that.
Yeah.
Maybe even journaling, things like that. Gemini rules journalism. So with Mars there's going to be all kinds of journalism out there.
Yeah.
Citizen stuff too, not just the stuff that you see on MSNBC and Fox and CNN, but people are going to be taking notice and I think recording of what's happening. And I think we're seeing that in Iran, right? I mean, all these videos coming out of what's going on there, because they don't really want us to know what's going on. They're kind of a closed society.
Yeah. I think we're going to be able to discern stuff that is fake and things that are, true. I think this is going to help us see, through some filters.
Well, I think that's the challenge, and that's the challenge ahead. And but you can do it. We can do it. We can get there. We can. Well, plus, it's not really just about understanding what I think, coming to an understanding of what we hear, but also running it through our own personal filters. I mean, how does it feel to you when you hear? Sometimes I hear things on television. I'm like, that just doesn't vibe with me. It doesn't sit well in my system. And so I tend not to believe that stuff. And
Yeah.
it's not everything. It's just every now and again. Like I'm like, I'm not sure I understand that.
Yeah.
Why that's happening. And that's when I usually question
Yeah. I
people.
do that more and more. Right, I go right to the lower half left-hand corner and look for that resource. Where is this coming from? Where is this information coming from?
Right, right. And
Right.
I think that's part of the Mars, even though well, I guess we can talk about Mars because it's co-ruling Scorpio anyway. I think that's a lot of what that Mars in Gemini is about, like getting the facts down. Let's get it, there's everything, there's nothing that happens that isn't in some way recorded.
Right.
Right. And so we just have to get the information and we'll see,
Right.
what comes of that. But this is going to be a very the energy is very intense. It's always intense when we're dealing with Scorpio. It's always intense. And even in Taurus, there's that energy of life and death that is a constant companion.
Mm-hmm.
I've lost two people in my life recently that
Yeah.
were they weren't central to my life, but they were sort of like light posts on the way where you remember the time you spent with them. You remember how their energy or who they were affected your life.
Yeah. Oh
You
yeah.
have to have a long term, like maybe it was somebody you just saw at, his daughter's birthday party or something like that. But those connections,
It's everything though too. And now I just lost my mom, but even the things like your harvest outside, grieving the loss of that. People on the other side of the equator are losing their winter, right? It's time for looking forward to it, but there was something cozy about that. There was something,
right.
In that, and they have to, it's time to put all the winter clothes away. There's something about it that we have to transition into the next step. It very much feels like when you celebrate fall, not when it's the date, the meteorological fall. This is really when everything's inside. We're getting the ground settled. We're moving things into our, summer, winter, whatever, areas where we have access to them, and finding old things, old pictures and stuff like that. It's time to sort of reminisce that way. That this Scorpio moon.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's a lot going back, a lot of memories coming up for people. I think that's important. That's important. So I want to read the Sabian symbol for this moon, if I could. And I'm just going to share the screen here, which is where I took this from my monthly astrology that I do week by week. And it's the new moon solar eclipse at 2 degrees of Scorpio. A delicate bottle of perfume lies broken, releasing its fragrance. A new and greater realization usually demands the sacrifice of something which has brought loveliness and fragrance to a lesser form of living and feeling. Old feelings are poignantly remembered even as one moves into a new and wider sphere of experience. Old relationships may be left behind, but the memory of their essential moments linger on, perhaps strong and nostalgic.
Mercury conjunct Neptune. And
The same
Mars Mars square Neptune too, and Mars is fancy releasing the gases. Isn't this interesting that wasn't there like a gamma ray explosion or something? Why does it remind me of this symbolism of spilling perfume?
I almost feel like it's it's if you have a bottle of perfume, you have the bottle, the perfumes in it, and even if there's only a little bit, you can still smell it. But once the bottle is broken, the container is broken, it's our memories that hold us to the scent, maybe. I don't know. You know, the olfactory scent is the oldest scent in the body. It's the first olfactory nerve, is the first cranial nerve. It's the first developed sense, and it's connected to our memories and our limbic system, our feelings and our emotions. So it's interesting for somebody like yourself who has anesthesia at this time.
Yeah.
You know, what exactly
Yeah.
is brewing
Yeah.
in that part of the brain.
Yeah. I think it's funny that it's just, I think we're going to see more people have those kinds of experiences because we're making connections more and more that are non-physical,
Yes, yes,
right?
yeah, a lot more connection, a lot more psychic connection.
Yeah.
Um, to me, the veil feels wide open right now.
Yeah.
It feels so open. I feel such a connection.
I think since the queen died, it's like she was, she put her pin in the gate and she's like, she's just ushering, like, it's just been, you know, and I don't want to make light of it. My mom fell into that portal too, but it's just one after another after another. It
Oh,
seems.
I feel like that's actually been going on for a while. We think about Elijah Cummings, we think about John
Oh,
Lewis, we think about Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
oh,
There's this sort of like energy of passing the torch,
yeah,
passing to the torch to the next generation's kind of sensibility.
yeah. It's all women though, seems like.
Well, women and men, I think. I mean, you know, men are connected to their feminine side,
Yeah,
you know, compassionate. I think it's I mean, things have, it's, I'm just amazed at how much has changed
yeah,
in the time that we've just been, you know, aware to witness it. You know, I mean, things have changed at warp speed. And I remember years ago when I was looking at this, you know, way ahead. I was looking, oh, when this happens, when that happens, it's going to be beyond our imaginations, like how things are going to change. And you couldn't, I just knew that was going to be the case. But until you get here, you don't necessarily know what that's going to
yeah,
be. And but it within that is the great potential to create something better,
yeah,
right? Like let's look at the Venus star point here.
yeah.
We just had the Venus star point. Let me read what I'm getting this from Ariel Gutman's book. Do you have this book,
I
Venus Star?
don't know.
Yeah, Rising. This is a great book. She did so much research on this. But we've been in a cycle of the Venus star point we just came out of was in Scorpio, and we've been there since 1927, I think, or 25, and now we're in this Libra star point. And let me just read what she says, because there's a personal meaning to these, and there's also a collective meaning.
You know what's interesting about the you know, just the rise of the feminine, right? The feminine movement or the feminine energy. And we're starting this Venus star cycle, and this is an 8-year. This is an 8-year
It's a 6-year.
board. You know, when we do those boards for the new year.
Oh,
This is an 8-year one with Venus starting her cycle in Libra,
I see.
right? Who rules Libra?
That's right. That's right. So she's especially powerful.
Yeah.
Okay, I just think I just found it. It says, as in the last Libra star era, Mars is rising again in the coming one. This asserts the need to be an activist for an ideal. In this case, Mars in Gemini will assert the pursuit of freedom of speech and expression. The onset of the Venus transit to Libra is a bit unusual in that the Libra Venus star point will be phasing in before the Scorpio star point is fully out. During this period between 2022 and 2030, Libra's Venus star point individuals will be born. Oh, well, this is just some sort of like strange thing when, okay, I don't want to talk about that, but I mean, sorry. In spite of the somewhat martial nature of the horoscope for the new Libra star that began in 2022, it is good to keep in mind that the astrological ruler of Libra is Venus. Other signs that Venus are linked to are Taurus and Pisces. When Libra's Venus star points become activated, the Taurus and Pisces star points similarly are activated. When Venus rises, so to speak, Mars will retreat as both Aries and Scorpio are retired. A temporary retreat from Mars rule signs occurring simultaneously with an outpouring of Venus rule signs will no doubt be experienced as a world that is ready for peace and perceived as a safer, more beautiful and healthier planet on which to live.
Yeah.
So even though like this, the people who are pontificating about what the future is going to look like, I think they have it wrong. I think, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Really negative stuff. I think they have it wrong. It's not about moving towards death. It's moving towards life.
Yeah. She's got a really, the meaning is perfect, right? It totally makes sense. But Libra also has that extreme side.
Yes, she does.
So are we hopefully maybe seeing this sort of last like latch onto this extreme way and move into this Venus cycle in a more Libra way? I think as we're peeling away from Scorpio, maybe some of this extreme energy will start to abate, I hope, because
Well, with Scorpio as the South Node, having to let go of always of feeling betrayed and conspiratorial, all that conspiracy stuff. That's all Scorpio, you know,
yeah,
conspiring to kill me or put me an end to me, whatever, you know. When the energy of the ego comes up against Scorpio, the ego can become very narcissistic because it doesn't want to surrender to the soul. It doesn't want to surrender to the greater whole. And we have to, in order to evolve, we have to surrender to a greater reality. And this Pluto South Node is flushing that.
yeah,
Right?
yeah,
So, and then of course we have the challenges of the North Node in Taurus being activated by Uranus, which creates chaos. So Taurus is money, Taurus is food, Taurus is shelter,
yeah.
Taurus is all that is sort of thrown up in the air. And
Which
we have
the
to
book just mentioned the Taurus star point and Pisces star point also get ignited now too, right? Okay. So, wow, super intense new moon.
I know, seriously.
Oh my God. What are you going to slice into your Nutella tomorrow? It's really interesting. I have the feeling I'm just open to whatever.
Well, I'm not really sure we have a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on my altar, I have my obsidian, of course.
Yeah. I was saying lava rock has been soaking me. Like it's about absorbing that energy. I wear lava rocks and I wonder maybe, if it absorbed COVID too, right? Should I be wearing jewelry? But yeah, it's that sort of absorbing
the negativity.
Yeah.
Is muting protection. I also have, I want to share this with you. I don't know if I've ever shown it to anybody. Like I've shown it to people, but not online. Hold on, I'm stuck. I can't get, I'm stuck. I will be stuck for long, not with the South Node. Goodness gracious.
I haven't set up much of, honestly, I'm still kind of going over things. I wanted everything to be just right. I don't want to miss any note because it's an important one. And I've got my mom's ashes, so I want that to be.
Oh, that's right. So here we go.
I want they have a little labradorite dish. I want this to be the start of that whole thing. And, I want to get some things done. So I haven't really, I know maybe it's because I got the ashes. I've got this absorbing rock sort of thing, something you really can, if you're holding it, will get hot in your hands. It absorbs that energy for sure.
Well, obsidian will do that.
Yep.
Obsidian can get really hot. This is a stone that I found on the beach many, many years ago. And I call it my gateway stone. And every now and again, it comes out when I know that there's a transformation and a transmutation that has to happen.
Yeah.
I have this on my altar along with my obsidian. I have amber on my altar.
Yeah.
I have some crows.
Yeah.
I don't usually get my altar together so quickly, or it's usually right around the time of the like
Yeah.
waiting till the time.
Yeah.
And but because I did that thing with Mary Ann,
I
the
see
three
that.
spooky
The
questions.
pumpkins. Yeah. With the
I wanted it to. She said, "Can we?" We were talking about it being spooky, so I was like, "Well, let me put on. Let me do my my."
And those pumpkins came out of your yard.
Yes, yeah.
I love it. I love that.
I know, harvest. It's harvest. It's harvest
Yeah.
time. This in the old days. This is when they would cull they'd see what they had, what they could afford to feed, and they would cull the flock and then prepare and save the meat for the winter. And I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a pretty cold winter.
That is projected, that everybody's thinking that, and we've had some really mild winters in Chicago the last couple of years. And I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe we'll have a mild winter. We could use it because oil is so expensive. I don't know, honestly, how we're going to afford to keep the place heated. I mean, we're going to really be frugal and wear a lot of sweaters and all that. But my mother's not here anymore, so we can get away with it. When she was here, we could never do that because she was 100.
Yeah, no.
And she's a 100-year-old woman.
Yeah. An 80-degree house is cold for a 90-year-old woman.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I go to the nursing home and I come out and I look like a tomato because it's so damn hot.
They're so hot. They're so hot. I'm not kidding. But they have to be because
I know they do. They do.
And
luckily, my mother's is like an old house, so it's still a little drafty. So at least there's air getting in there because some of these places are hermetically sealed.
Mine, ours, we have windows that open a little. We can get air inside the building. And there are some residents that want the windows open all the time. I appreciate that. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. Yeah. You need to know what's happening outside the building when you can't leave.
True. You have to be able to smell the air, as it were.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So you're not really smelling things, right? Because of the
Paxlovid is making everything taste like paint. Since I've been taking it, it's just like kind of paint chips. So no, not really. I haven't been able to sort of tease away from what I believe my mom is sending me signs and really sort of what's happening with this new moon.
Yeah.
It's all super connected.
Well, yes.
Right. So I haven't, what if I could say something to the collective about the whole new moon thing? I have to pull a card.
Oh, why don't we do that?
Cards.
Thank you. Thank you for reminding me. This new moon is trying your your Mars, I mean your Saturn too, right?
I
So
believe.
trine? Yes, trine. Your
Uh,
Saturn's at 2, right?
yeah.
To Pisces.
Yeah, there's a lot of my house is very active.
I bet.
Yeah.
I bet.
I just ordered more bulbs. I had to get this. It's a constant thing around here.
I'll let you pull
But
first.
good, in a good way. So let's just say, like, just message for this.
For this new moon. Yeah.
3 cards. The Magician, 2 of Wands, and Page of Pentacles. So nice. Archangel Michael again. He's the magician in this deck. Does he not look at? He likes my hair, right? Does he not show up when we read pretty much every single time?
Yes.
Every single time. 2 of Wands in this deck. This is that angel deck here. Listening to the whispers there, right? Listening to the messages, again with the red hair, and Page of Pentacles. So there is some that those things that you value, there is some of that Venus money thing there at the end, creating something, you know. That's what I think my mom would say to me, is like, you know, get to work. Yeah, get to work.
Yeah. I have the 3 of Cups, which is in this deck, the 3 stages of the woman, the mother maiden and the crown, in this deck. And then the 7 of Wands, which is a creativity vibration. And then we have the 9 of Swords, which can be a break in the action. Like there was fighting and now they stopped. Now they're sort of set house. Like they fought their way to, they can't actually really put their swords out because they both fall off the thing. So it's a stalemate. So I feel like there's maybe an ending of maybe one of the wars, or there's some kind of truce, right? We have the Princess of Pentacles, and then we have the 4 of Wands, which is about this is meeting your ancestors. This card, this is about meeting your ancestors.
I thought that was on the bottom. Yeah.
The crossroads, right? Being at the crossroads. And then also this sense of some people leaving and going on a new journey with people that have been waiting for them.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's going to be a lot of people who exit this period of time, which is not unusual for this time of year, and certainly not unusual for an eclipse in Scorpio, right?
Yeah.
But understand that they also have somewhere to go, that it's not because they don't love you and they left you and they, you know, they don't want to, there is this sense that we're moving on, on. And I feel it more now than I think I've ever felt it. But then of course my mother is 102, so
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
that's a great possibility. And my mother's nodes, she has her north node in Scorpio, so.
Wow.
And Mars at her south node. Her Mars is like around 13 degrees of Scorpio. Yeah. So the south node's on her Mars.
Wow. That's amazing. See? Yeah. Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see. We'll definitely have a little bit more information come moonshine.
Yes. We will, definitely.
So this has been a real pleasure. And I know you've been out straight with your mom, and then the new job, and then COVID, and then every other little thing that seems to be coming your way.
You know what, I keep saying, putting that out to the universe. You know, you say things that you don't even know you manifest, right? Like I always say, oh no, I love being busy. I love being busy.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's exactly what you get. It's been crazy busy. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it, but I do need to feel like I need to get more into the self-care stuff and really, and that's what I think COVID is giving me, is like time to reflect and take part in the ceremony that is new moon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you again. And next we
Thank
will
you.
see you again on your channel for Moonshine.
Yep.
And then again for the new moon in Sag that's happening in November, I think, right? It's at the
Yeah.
end of November, the new moon. So
Yeah.
we'll be together for that. We'll have maybe a little more information by then. We'll see. We'll see if our hair's on fire or not.
We'll find out.
Well, your hair is already on fire. We'll see
Pretty
if both
much.
our hair's on fire.
Pretty much, right? I know.
That girl is on fire. All right, guys.
Thank you so much.
Have a great 2 weeks, everyone. We'll see you soon enough.
Bye-bye.